Companies in the food and ag sector more broadly should take really keen interest in what Cefetra is doing here today. We see all around us commitments that companies are making to source from more regenerative farming practices, and they link that not only to the security of their supply in more volatile weather and climate conditions, but also to driving down their embedded supply chain emissions, what's called their Scope 3 emissions. And what Cefetra is doing here in partnership with Soil Capital is bringing to market grains of all sorts with certified lower carbon footprints as a result of the regenerative agriculture practices that farmers are implementing on the ground.
Why should an industrial consumer pay more for the reduced carbon grains that are on offer? They cost more to produce. There's an effort involved, there's an element of land stewardship involved. The consumer is also asked by his stakeholders to reduce his carbon footprint. That needs to be achieved somewhere in the supply chain, and that service has a price. The industrial consumer is under some pressure. A lot of them have made commitments to SBTi targets, reductions in their supply chains to be achieved by 2030. That clock is ticking. The consumer is 5 harvests away from achieving their reduction targets. He's making demands on the supply chain to change things. There's a cost to that. Farming practices have to be changed. There's an administrative burden. We, as the logistics and supply chain manager in the middle, need to make extra efforts. So the supply chain has to be rewarded for providing the better product. What's the value of certification to the consumer? The value to the consumer is that we all have external pressures. We have stakeholders, we have demands on us to be transparent and accountable. Certification, as per our program, is designed to be as accountable, auditable, visible, reconcilable as possible. And this is our service and commitment to the consumer. What are the barriers to participating in the markets for reduced carbon grains? They apply to both the farmer as a producer of low carbon grains and also the consumer of low carbon grains. And their main barrier is a lack of propositions. Both of them want to be in these markets, but they need to have a clear picture. The farmer needs to have a clear picture of, how can he produce the grains and then obviously get the value out of them. So he needs a program that describes to him transparently what he needs to do and what the outcomes are. The consumer needs a safe product. He needs a product that for him safely is something that can be bought and is provided by a trustworthy partner. Of course, in the middle between those two, we need a bridge. And this is where we see our service proposition as Cefetra companies, to provide that bridge as a trustworthy partner from within the industry, from within the supply chain, and a company with a long-standing history of reliability and trustworthiness.